I've been in the entertainment industry for a very long time. I only started teaching in 2011, and I only started full time in 2015. So it's not that long of actually having health insurance for a long, long time. And I've had health insurance on and off, but for the most part, I've been one of those kids that was like, no health insurance, you better just stay healthy. And when you don't have it, you're like, I'm not going to the doctor on a regular basis. So I do a lot of online or reading, and also being a Black female, you go to your aunties and and you say what, and they say, Miss So-and-so said, do this, kind of thing. There's a lot of home remedy. Oh, I totally.
Women helping women, the girlfriend network, as I call it, the auntie network.
But the problem in that is that a lot of the women are not necessarily discussing all the aspects of menopause or perimenopause. Like most people were not discussing perimenopausal stuff. They would talk about They would just say, "Oh yeah, you're gonna have hot flashes." Like that's the main thing that I ever heard. You have hot flashes? Oh yeah, you're gonna have hot flashes, girl. It's gonna be bad. But not what is the remedy besides get the fan that you take to church, and what about hair loss? I don't have hair on my body because it went away. I don't know what happened. That was years ago, but that's part of the beginning. My hair thinning. Yes, this is not mine, but it's mine. And they're not talking about vaginal dryness. They're not talking about because everyone thinks that they're still having sex on a regular basis in a normal way and all these other things. And I'm thinking, really? Are you?
That's one thing that women are hesitant to bring up, even in my office. And I might inquire about it based on their physical examination and say, hey, I was wondering, do you have symptoms related to this or any problems? And then they'll go, oh, yes. But I'm always surprised that they didn't bring it up.
Right. No, they won't talk about
even
it.
to me, a gynecologist.
No.
There's such shame, though, I think.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Or I think naturally what we hear a lot of is this normal? You started off with saying, am I going crazy?
Yes.
But it is hair thinning. It is anxiety. I'm snapping at my family. It's all these other kind of lifestyle-oriented things that you think are just you changing versus actually.
And women also think that they may think it's normal, but they think they just have to accept it, and that's the way it is. That's just the way it is. That there's not a remedy or a way to feel better.
And then when you do find something I'm not married. I don't know if everybody else is. I'm not. So I don't. So that means partners and all that kind of stuff. But I don't have partners. We're not going to get into that. That's another subject. But still, I'm like, well, if I do, then you have the shame of that, right? But it's all like, what is gonna, what's gonna happen? Is he gonna be like, ugh? But then I think, well, it's the same thing for him at this age, when the poor guy.
It is equal opportunity,
right? Oh, what's happening? Kind of thing.
Yeah. But commercials for Viagra are
all over the place. Like we can fix you.
Is, a dime a dozen.
Yes.
Whereas talk about financial disparities. If you look at the cost of HRT, hormone replacement therapy, and you compare it to getting a whole barrel full of Viagra, there's a real discrepancy.
But then hormone therapy, when I did find another doctor, she actually said, okay, I'm going to put you want to get on. And I said, well, they said I can't because I have that cancer. She was like, we put you on a very low dosage. It's not this. So she put me on low dosage, and it changed my life. Initially, the cost of it was like $100 and some odd, and I was like, I can't afford that, so I stopped.
For 1 month.
Yes, I was like, I can't, and so I didn't use it. And then I saw her again, or maybe a year, and I said, and then she goes, well, I'll get a cheaper version. We can get something better, more economical. Let me find this out, and now it's like so much cheaper. I went, well, how come you can get?
But I think that also shows that the conversation with your doctor isn't just about how you're feeling, whatever. It can also be about price and budget and money, because there's so many different options now.
I don't know that we really discuss these things enough. I don't know what it's like in my Asian sisters' families and my Latina sisters' families. I want to know what's the conversation you all have.
Yeah, which we do too, which is one of the reasons that HelloPause exists. We would really like to have that conversation and find out how it's different.
Is it different?
Right.
And how do you all speak to your family and friends and girlfriends? Are you being very open and honest? I'm very open and honest. Like, this is a problem. Like, what do I need to do? Because I think that's how we, can help each other.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, it's not just that like our mothers are keeping secrets from us, and maybe they're not comfortable talking about sex, but there's a lot of things happening in our bodies that they have no idea. They were never given language. And we kind of talked about this in the first episode, but in as late as the 1930s, women were being locked up in insane asylums for being depressed and sterilized for good measure so they wouldn't pass on their bad mental health to the next generation. So, talking about mental, the dysphoria, the depression, the kind of emotional sides of menopause has not been something that you were allowed to do, even if you understood it, which you probably didn't, because there were dire consequences to doing that. And in the 1950s, it seems that they handed out hysterectomies like cough drops. And so you didn't really go through the experience organically, spontaneously. Right. I didn't have a roadmap to follow, and I think that a lot of it is a lack of language.
Yeah.
I think it's the era of the woman right now, on so many levels, with equal pay and Me Too and so on and so forth. But even in the women that we see come to Genève, they are looking for conversation. They're looking for it to be normalized. Mm-hmm. They're looking, they're seeking a safe place to have the conversations. We have a lot of data around women who come to Genève and the menopause assessment that they complete to learn more about what's happening in their bodies. Mm-hmm. And I am amazed at how young women are coming to our platform more and more. This is great. Late 30s, early 40s.
Recognizing it sooner.
Yeah. Or they're curious. Mm-hmm. We're also, I think, as a society, more apt to take control of our health and wellness. So if you're not feeling normal, you're going to seek it out.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think insurance coverage turns out to be a big blockage for people seeking help through our healthcare system on a regular basis. Mm-hmm. And so you start doing things like Googling your symptoms and joining forums and
how can I get it for less?
And the fire hose of information that shoots out at you when you're on a forum or Googling the information is daunting.
Well, and about 70% or more of medical information found online is either incomplete or incorrect. That's a really high percentage. And so it's really nice to have forums like Genève where you can have a reliable source.
Yes.
And I always told patients about sources online that I thought were reliable, because if you just depend on Dr. Google, you are going to get that fire hose. And you're not going to be able to sort out what's valid, what's not, what's incomplete, what's true. It's difficult. So having reliable sources is really important.
I think that forums even exist. It shows just how in need women are. Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're desperate. Yeah. They're desperate for community, for solutions. They're looking.
They're problematic, but they are standing in the gap right now between the knowledge that women need and their ability to get it.